we are living in interesting times where there is a lot of data. In fact, there is a data deluge. And as my friend Sundar was referring to in the morning, the challenge is converting that data into insights. So today, I'm going to talk about 3 stories around challenges and solutions when it comes to data-driven marketing. And my first story is actually for smokers. There is a good news that smokers actually live longer. So this was a seminal research conducted for over 20 years, where the researchers in UK tracked 1,300 plus women and across age groups, across their smoking and non-smoking habits. And they looked at the mortality rate for smokers versus non-smokers. And turned out that smokers actually had a lower mortality rate than non-smokers. Sounds pretty counterintuitive. Interestingly, as they looked at the data in greater details, they saw a reverse trend where the mortality rate was actually higher for smokers, as one expects, than for non-smokers, practically all through, across all age groups, except a small aberration in 25 to 34. But by and large, the mortality rate actually for smokers was high. So what explains this paradox? When you look at the data in an aggregate way, you actually see the trend totally getting reversed. Turns out that there is a confounding variable, or basically there is a background to this story, where it just so happened that the percentage smokers in each age group was actually different. Because of the generational behavior around smoking, you had more younger people who were smoking, and you had more older people who were non-smokers. And since older people have higher mortality rate by design, it just changed the entire trend when you look at it in an overall way. And so this is basically what is being called as Simpson's paradox, which is reversal of a trend due to multidimensionality in the data. So my second story is about a marketeer who and I cannot name that brand, but a pretty experimental brand, one of the largest brands, and they spent almost about 30 lakh rupees promoting their mobile website in the month of December, and they actually stopped promoting their mobile app altogether, only to realize a month later that was money down the drain because, and basically the business came down. Turned out that analysis that led them to stop mobile app was actually fraught with Simpson's paradox. So I have our own story. Over the last few years at YOptima, as we worked with several dozens of brands, we used to see similar challenges internally as well. Invariably, we would come across cases where we would infer a certain trend and try to promote basis that inference, only to realize later that that was actually not the right decision. And that's when we actually realized that this is a paradox related to multidimensional data or handling data where you're buying media across so many different dimensions. So here is an example of a brand that we work with, and I have obfuscated a few things here deliberately. But this is a video branding campaign that we're running, and we are measuring the view-through completion rate of that campaign. And we tried 3 different creative messaging, promoting burgers, fries, and shakes. And when we look at it in an overall way, we see that it's shakes that's having a higher view-through rate. And so you would typically end up promoting that more and more and create a reinforced self-selection bias. It so turned out, though, as we looked at the data deeper, at the next level, we saw that it was actually burger as a concept that had a higher view-through rate all through, whatever dimensions one would look at. So whether you look at it in terms of you ran this campaign on desktop web versus mobile app versus mobile web on video, or you ran it across metros and non-metros, the view-through rate for burger was actually consistently better than for shakes, and yet the single-dimensional analysis totally reversed the trend. So next time you're actually using multidimensional data and converting into a pivot table, think of Simpson's paradox. There's a very high chance your trend actually could be completely reversed from the reality. And so as we struggled with this, we realized that the role of manual data analysis cannot be ignored at all. I mean, you still need human judgment. You still need subject matter expertise. But we realized that a lot of this analysis can actually be automated and can be improved in terms of accuracy to overcome Simpson's paradox by going back to the fundamentals of machine learning and statistics. And especially because when you're buying media, it's not even a one or two dimensional world that you're looking at data. You're buying it across devices, audiences, websites and apps. You're buying it across geos, across various creative concepts. In the programmatic world, even more so, across exchanges, across categories of websites, so on and so forth. It could be viewability being different, frequency caps, day part. And that's when we realized that this problem has to be solved in a much better way. And so what we've built at YOptima is an industry-first performance recommendation engine for programmatic that sits on top of the entire programmatic stack. This product is called DeepView, which uses ML and AI and some of the fundamentals of statistics to convert multidimensional data into an accelerated performance discovery, so it saves time, but more than that, it actually makes the analysis more accurate. And so what DeepView emits out are recommendations around intelligent programmatic strategies. It identifies hotspots, which are basically opportunities that are already doing pretty well and somewhere hidden in the data, like finding hidden gems. It identifies cold spots where you're actually wasting money or spillage. It's also identifying warm spots, which are early stage opportunities, seed level data that you need to explore a lot more before you can actually start exploiting. And then lastly, fake spots, which are basically things that look good, but they are not when you look at it deeper in terms of lower funnel metrics, typically fraud or instant traffic that one could see. And using DeepView today, we are able to get a far better handle on driving results faster and better. And so today, we have used DeepView across a multitude of our clients. Here is a particular case study on one of the largest global fintech brands, where thanks to DeepView, we are able to deliver an accelerated scale of 7 times scale than the original plan within a period of 3 months itself, or roughly between, I would say, 10 to 12 weeks. And while doing so, we improved the ROI by over 35%. And the overall turnaround time itself was substantially accelerated compared to what typically programmatic marketing is known to take. Programmatic as a channel is traditionally not known to be a performance channel. Having delivered over 3,000 plus programmatic campaigns across 700 plus brands, we at YOptima have made it our mission to bring performance to programmatic. Thank you, guys.